Welcome back, everybody. Here we are on Lake Erie, maybe one last time this year with some late 75-degree weather. We thought we'd take a shot at it, and it looks like the storms will chase us off pretty soon here, but we're going to take a crack at this anyway today. It's good to have you all back with us, and we're happy to be with you here again, just enjoying what's left of summer here for a minute. It's interesting, I have been thinking about this. Incidentally, before I go too much further, remembering that we've been talking about the community center and its food drive. We just finished last night our second record day in a row with 156 families checked in, plus those that we took care of on shut-ins that we haven't been able to collect names on. Seems like the need's not going away, so such as it is for those who are supporting us, financially supporting us, volunteer, we really appreciate it. Can't tell you how important the work is, and we've literally gotten to a point where we hear in the news about people losing their jobs. Like we heard the 100th Bomb Squad went down and closed for good 2 weeks ago, and boom, right away we're seeing people from the 100th Bomb Squad coming in as they've been laid off and they have need, as they've been doing what they can, but really can't go without that paycheck. So thank you again as you go. Please don't stop volunteering, helping financially, however you can do that. We appreciate it. You guys really make this work for us in ways that we can never imagine. So I was thinking about the way Jesus called disciples and the people that he called. And in the book of Matthew, and I think the 4th chapter, when he's calling fishermen, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you a little bit, or maybe not. It's chapter 8 of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 18 through 22. We have Christ calling 4 men, and I'm going to read this to you. As Jesus walked along the shores of Lake Galilee, he saw 2 brothers who were fishermen, Simon, who he called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were catching fish in the lake with a net. Doesn't say anything about a boat, just catching fish in the lake with a net. I always wish that there would be fish that plentiful that I could throw a net in and drag them out. I could do that, I suppose, at times, but all the fish we got would be these little teeny minnows. Jesus said to them, "Come with me and I will teach you to catch people." Some translations will say, "Come with me or follow me and I will make you fishers of men." At once they left their nets and they went with him. He went on and he saw 2 other brothers, James and John, the sons of Zebedee. They were in their boat with their father, Zebedee. They were getting their nets ready, and Jesus called them, and at once they also left their boat and their father, and they went with him. Now, I have to tell you, I was contemplating this because it seems like so often people read so much into every little thing Jesus said. 3.5 years, and every sentence as it's recorded has been dissected and gone over and over as we try to find meaning and discover meaning. And I don't mean to say that I've been critical about that, because it does seem like Christ really recognized that he didn't have a lot of time, and he made the most he could of the time he had with people. But sometimes I think we get too carried away in trying to craft his thoughts into matching what it is that we want to say, but I'm not sure that that's the case with this particular story. Fishers of men. I've been fishing since I'm probably too young to remember. There's pictures of me fishing at my family's cottage in Wisconsin, and I know I certainly don't remember that. I do remember the Bert and Ernie shirt that I was wearing in some of the pictures, but I don't remember posing for a picture with a little fish that I caught off the net. Fishing is an interesting thing, and I have memorable fishing trips in my life. The day that Talia was born, or the day before rather, as it turns out, was an amazing one. I was able to take both of my grandfathers, one of whom was terminally ill at the time, an uncle, a cousin, and my dad out, and just get everybody having a lot of fun catching fish, and that one will stick in my head forever. I'm not sure this last weekend when I missed the video won't stick with me too. Not that we caught many fish, but my younger cousin James caught a fantastic steelhead out here, and we weren't fishing for steelhead, we were fishing for walleye. But that was such a welcome sight, something rare people don't often do. I guess maybe that's what got me to thinking about some of this. Called them to be fishermen, not to be fish sellers or traders, not to set the market, not to clean the fish or to make them perfect. He called them to be fishermen. And I've known a lot of fishermen in my life, and some catch and some don't. All of them, though, I will say, are happy when they catch. I've had boats on this lake for much of the time that I've lived in Ohio. I've had a lot of luck and success, and I've taken a lot of clients out, but I only took clients out when I knew exactly where the fish were and how to get them to bite, and that they were biting, because I wanted everybody in the boat to have success. But if I'm by myself or taking a group out that came in from out of town, I gotta be honest with you. We throw our lines in the water, and whatever bites or hits or we can catch is just fine with us. In fact, I remember my grandfather, who was not the big fisherman, the one that lived up here with us, Paul, who was a lot of things, but I don't know that he was that much of a fisherman much in his life. I never knew him to be. But I took him out that day, the day before Talia was born, and we were fishing for perch, and we caught a lot of perch that day. We caught some white bass. But the most exciting moment for him was the moment that he hooked and caught and landed a sheep's head. Now, for those of you who aren't fishermen, you would know that sheep's head in a lake that you fish for walleye are the curse. They put up a heck of a fight. They're a lot of fun to catch, but usually you're done catching walleye when you bring a sheephead and it's time to draw your lines in and move somewhere else. It's a scrub fish. It's also called a freshwater drum. We've never eaten them or thought that they particularly tasted good, but he was as excited as I have ever seen him at this giant sheephead that he caught. He was so upset with me for telling him we were throwing that fish back that I almost let him keep it. I don't know why. But he was just so upset because this one fish equaled 30 other fish that somebody caught in size and weight and the rest of it. It was that moment that I realized that though I never really necessarily knew him to be a fisherman, he was a fisherman. Because a fisherman's job is not to do all those other things. A fisherman's job is to get out on the lake or the river, find the fish, and get them in the boat. So he calls them to be fishermen, not to decide what they're going to catch or how much they're going to catch or who they're going to catch or what it looks like. Not to make sure it's clean or it's right or it makes them happy. He just calls them to be fishermen. Go out there and catch a sheephead if it makes you happy. Go out there and catch whatever there is out there to be caught, because that's how God's kingdom works. See, as a fisherman with my grandfather, I thought, why would you want to catch a sheep's head? There's nothing worth anything in that. And yet somehow on that day, he felt like he had the best catch of the day, because it was, to him, the biggest, the most colorful, the most interesting, and the best catch. As Christians, so often we see the world around us through our lens of what we think we need to be getting. We're not fishermen anymore. We're trying to set the market and say that's worth it or that's not. And so I think Christ was intentional as he called them to be fishermen. He just wanted them to go out there, figure out where the fish are, the people, and to throw their nets. I feel really blessed to be involved with so many people that do so much for others. It really does astound me when I think about the idea of trying to be a leader and trying to encourage or inspire people, and then coming across other people who are so profoundly inspiring to me that I recognize it's not a mistake. And yet I realized too that if I was to just determine what was worth catching and keeping, much less allowing in the boat with me before cleaning, I would limit very much God's ability to work with this little group of people that have come to us. Friends, it seems to me that we need to be fishers of men. We need to be people that are looking at the world in front of us saying there is great need all over out there. And our job is not to decide whether the need is worthy or the people are worthy or whatever it is. Our job is simply to get ourselves out there where it's happening and throw our lines in the water and see what God brings to us. I challenge you all to become fishers of men in the same way that Christ called James and John and Simon Peter and Andrew. It's clear even in John's story that later he did want to determine who was worthy and who wasn't worthy and make decisions about these things. And when he did, Christ always just backs him down and says, John, it's not your job to make those decisions. It's just your job to be the fisherman. We've talked about this before. The needs are great, but the workers are few. The harvest is great, but the workers are few. And it's so easy to see that in these moments like COVID when we have all this need. But the reality of the story remains. Our call is simply to be fishers of men, just to get on out there. I've told many, many people on many, many days, a bad day on the lake is always better than a good day in the office. It's a joke. But it's just so relaxing and peaceful to know that you're just going out. Whatever happens, it works. Whatever we catch is fine. However we do, no worries. It'll work out. I think if we had that attitude in working for God, just getting out there and doing the things that make us happy, working with God and allowing Him to bring the catch, we'd be so much better off than judging people and deciding whether they work or not for us based on our thoughts. That's all I have for you today. I don't even have a fish for you. In fact, for those of you out there that are real fishermen, you know I'm throwing a erie-deary in a river and there's no bait on it. But it works, so this is probably the first time we staged something like that. We love you guys. Thank you so much for the volunteer help, for the financial help. We're going to keep on going with this mission, and I just encourage you all to think of yourselves as fishers of men. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.